Hello, once again. This is 2A Radio. We are here once again. Today is the 24th of September 2022. Today we have a roundtable discussion, and we have in audience two personalities of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the United States. And in persons are the President, Joe Mason, and Mr. Seboe Maparyan. These individuals are the one who are preparing ALJA for its 2022 National Convention. So, gentlemen, welcome to 2A Radio.
Thank you so much, James, for just the opportunity to be here today to talk about what is arguably the biggest event in our organization for the year. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Maparyan?
Thank you, James. Is truly a privilege and an opportunity to be featured on your platform and um, discussing the business of ALJA. And we are truly privileged, and it's a blessing to be here.
Okay, that's good. Importantly, ALJA has been around for some time, and so we want to start with you, Mr. President. ALJA is supposed to be having her convention for the year 2022. First, in why convention? Where are you coming from? What are some of the issues and the preparation and all of those stuff? Can you talk a little bit about ALJA? There are people who probably don't know ALJA. People have heard about ALJA. People think that ALJA is just a group of people or is just a group of persons who are cartoon, people who push cartoons, people who are not having impact on the political landscape of Liberia, neither the United States. So can you tell a little bit about ALJA
Thank you, James.
and the convention? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let me say thank you to for this platform and for what you all continue to do. I know we had talked early on when you began this exercise, and I see you growing this platform in a way that I think is making a really great impact in the discourse that we're having in our country. So I want to thank you and everyone that is involved with 2A Radio, and want to encourage you all to continue this exercise. So I just wanted to say that
Thank you.
before I get into our history. During the during the heat of our crisis, the civil crisis in Liberia, many people fled. A lot of them were journalists who fled the country, and quite a few of them ended up here in the United States. And when they arrived, they recognized that given what was unfolding in the country, their voice was still important to be heard. And so they came together uh, and funded ALJA, a really wonderful concept, not just to serve as a voice that will continue to represent the the views and aspirations of the Liberian people, but also to be able to give back in terms of just helping to shift the media landscape in a really positive way, whether it's through training, to support in whatever way they could, and also just to foster that spirit of camaraderie amongst them while they were here. And that is the concept upon which ALJA was founded. So that was in 1998
Hmm.
when it began. I remember when I arrived here in the United States earlier in 2001, but I was still in Liberia at the time. Many of us were, I'm sure you were as well, in
Hmm.
1998. And so
Right.
we used to follow the activities of ALJA, and I was impressed by the advocacy. I was really excited about what they were doing. These Liberians, even though far from home, but still making an impact in a significant way. And so when I arrived in the United States, I said to myself that I would join this organization and be a part of what they were doing. I remember my very first convention here in the United States when I arrived was an ALTA convention that was held in Washington D.C. at the time. I attended that convention,
Hmm.
but sadly, you know, a phenomenon, call it a phenomenon if you may, that it's too often common in Liberian organization. You know, B double ALJA, there was internal crisis. There was a rift in the leadership, and ALJA, in just less than 3 years, ALJA crumbled in 2001. So from 2001 to 2014, the organization lay dormant. Not much was happening. And so a group of journalists headed by our former president, Moses Sunday, began talking about reactivating the organization. And I think he reached out to me personally and said, "Hey, Joe, we're trying to do this thing. You're in the Midwest. Can you serve as the Midwest coordinator?" And I agreed. And so, the reactivation process began on Moses. At the time, he was the interim president. So there was a mini convention held in Delaware in 2014, no, early 2015. And then the decision was made to hold our first post-crisis convention in 2015. At that convention in Delaware, elections were held, and Mr. Sandy was elected our president, and then I was elected vice president along with him. So that is how the process started, from where we were many, many years ago to where we are right now. So since 2014, when the process of reactivation started, ALJA now continues to just grow from strength to strength, and it's that, organization that people respect, people look up to. Our colleagues in Liberia see it as one that's making a difference, and I couldn't be more proud of what we've been able to achieve when we began this reactivation process under my predecessor Moses and to where we are right now.
Okay, that's very good. So for the convention, you care to emphasize a little bit about it?
Yes. So the convention, like I mentioned earlier, is the biggest event of the year, is an opportunity for us to continue to foster the spirit of camaraderie. That is so key to our organization existence, because that's one of the reasons why we exist. But more importantly, to look at the challenges, the achievements for the year, and plot for the next year. That's when we review our activities. Have the opportunity to present report to the body, financial report, and just the overall activities of the organization over the year. But also, we also try to do is to talk about the substantive issues that is occurring in our country nationally, and that was one of them we'll do this year.
Okay.
The theme for this year's convention is sustaining Liberia's democracy now and in the future, the media and the 2023 general elections. We were intentional in selecting that topic because you recognize, as someone who is in the news business, that elections are coming around in a matter of months, 12 months, 13 months now. I think it's in October next year, so about 13 months now. And I cannot emphasize enough how significant that election is in terms of just continuing to move our country in that peaceful stage that we've been in now for the last several years, building upon the democracy that we've enjoyed now over the last several years. There were elections in 2005, another elections in 2011. Those elections that brought President Shirley to power, and then 2017 when President Weah came to power. By and large, those elections were peaceful. Even the by-elections that have been held since. That is unlike prior to the crisis, when our country, did not have such a good record when it comes to holding free and fair elections. So the goal is to continue to just build upon these successes we've achieved over the last several years when it comes to holding elections that are free, fair, and transparent. So that will be the crust of our convention this year in terms of the team. And we've contacted some really wonderful speakers who will attend the convention. I can begin with the guest speaker, Anthony Samuel Kofi Woods II. He's a renowned human rights lawyer who's been in the advocacy business for many, many, many years. Headed the Catholic Justice Peace Commission, was former Minister of Labor and Public Works, and President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and I think he brings a lot of credibility to this topic. And I'm really, really excited by what I believe he will say when he speak to us on the night of October 1st, when we hold our annual benefit banquet. Also joining us for that weekend will be Green Boston County Senator, two-time Senator Nomdi Kanga Lawrence. Let me correct that. Nomdi Kanga Lawrence. Senator Lawrence will also speak to the challenges facing women political participation. As someone who's served as a senator, who ran for public office twice, we believe she has a lot to offer as well. So, those are just some of the speakers as we go on in the program. We'll talk about more.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's some of the menu we have for the convention, the menu items we have for the convention.
Okay, we will be asking a lot of questions, and but let's hear from the mayor who is really preparing the ground. Talking about Massachusetts, Mr. Seboe Maparyan is the president for the chapter, right? So, Mr. Maparyan, how is the preparation? Are you prepared to host ALJA? ALJA men of personalities, they will be traveling to that state. So, are you prepared? Can you tell us how prepared you are to host this convention?
Thank you, James. I just a quick correction. I'm not the president of the chapter. The
Okay.
president of the chapter is one Mr. Roland Brown, and the vice president Francis Don. I'm just, your humble servant and one of the guys behind the scene.
Okay.
You can call me, chairman of the board of directors of the
Okay,
organization.
Mr. Chairman.
So that is the role I occupy now. I'm actually humbled to be in that position because they are great people of our organization, but selecting me to serve that portfolio is truly a humble duty on my part. So coming to talking about the convention, we are doing our best. Is a kind of tedious task. It's also a learning curve, and is an issue of collaboration, consultation, asking questions, and trying to plan for the best for our organization. Like Joe said, when we met in 2014 in Delaware, I know the guy, President, Emeritus Moses Sandy, really set the pace, and I know how we were hosted. I mean, it was great. So we tried to replicate that here especially in fact when we also met in Minnesota, that was another beautiful activity we had there. So coming to Massachusetts, we are sitting on the shoulders of our colleagues who have hosted the conference, the convention before. So we have put all of the necessary plan into place. Usually we have our general assembly, and where we discuss matters of relevance to the convention. So we have that facility secure, and we are hoping to see in large number our friends and colleagues, that will be traveling far and wide. And like Joe said, the convention officially begins on Thursday of next week, which will be the 29th of September, and it runs to the first the 2nd of October, which will be on Sunday. So we are hoping to we have a hall that accommodates up to 250 people. So we are looking forward to getting people to come to Worcester. Worcester is a city that lies west of Boston, Massachusetts. Is a 1 hour drive, roughly 1 hour drive from the city of Boston to Worcester by means of I-90. So we're encouraging our people to really, especially the Liberian community, both in Boston and in Worcester, as well as surrounding villages like Aspeting and Liberia. Surrounding cities and towns of this community, we're asking people to come so that we can actually, like Joe talk about the camaraderie. We also meet as as Liberians and have a discussion, because this country is the only peace we have, and the way we can foster democracy outside of the political arena is face-to-face discussion with our friends, our sisters, our brothers. You know me, I know you. There are things we have in common. And you can advise me, you can face me personally, I can face you personally. We'll have some discussion. Like, for example, when I met one of the political aspirants in Boston, and I was able to, put some questions to him. And he didn't know certain thing, and I brought those to his attention. So this is how, we sustain democracy. I mean, it starts with the grassroots and then we move up there. So coming back to the convention, we are in gear. We look forward to seeing our people on Thursday. I think the leadership will be in on Thursday. And on Friday, we hope to have almost all of our people in, because come Saturday is our General Assembly. And at our General Assembly, this is where we discuss all of the relevant matter, and we have panel discussion and stuff like that. But on Friday, I think the president will speak to that. He has, the national leadership have put different programs into place. I can hear you, James.
This is where we think Joe will be able to talk much about,
Right.
because you guys are only preparing the ground, but when it comes to knowing how many persons are to attend this convention, he has told us some of the panelists, the guest speaker. And so, Joe, if we just come back to Mr. Maparyan, we'll come right back to you. Joe, how many persons are you really expecting? Are you believing that most of your members are going to attend this convention, and whether or not they all have met their obligations to attending this convention?
Yeah, so if you don't mind, let me talk about some of the other speakers, and then I will talk about
Okay.
the numbers. I know I mentioned Anthony Samuel Kofi Woods and Senator Myong Kanga. They're just two of the many speakers we will have for the duration of the convention. On Friday, just ahead of the banquet we'll have on Saturday, we intend to host a panel discussion. Again, and I think I mentioned the topic, just talking about the challenges facing women participation in the electoral process. That women, when they do participate in elections, they bring different perspective and different experiences, different approaches to solving problem. But I think we really have a terrible record when it comes to women participation in our elections. How do we level up that number when it comes to men and women in our governance process, in our decision-making process? I think it's a challenge for all of us, and our job finds itself in a unique position to be able to contribute to really helping to make that difference in stepping up that number. There are several reasons why gender equality in Liberia is impacted by many, many reasons. It could be entrenched traditional norms, could be cultural practices, could be limited education, and all those are all factors that makes it harder for women to get as fully involved in participating in our elections as they should be. And I think our country, again, like I said, just ranks significantly low when it comes to that representation. So we are hoping that um, these panelists who have had experiences in elections, um, um, Madam Magdala Cooper, was a presidential candidate in the last election, and I think she is again in the next election. She will be one of our panelists. So will Madam Edith Gonglo, where contested the senatorial position in Nima County twice. She was also a former superintendent for Nima County. So these two women, will be a part of our panel on Saturday that is just looking at this issue of the challenges that women face when it comes to their participation. We also will have Mr. Dafa from the Local Voices, we're called the Liberia Media Network. His organization has done a lot of work when it comes to just uncovering some of the issues that surround our elections. I think the goal for us is to make sure that we are bringing out those issues with the hope that they will be addressed, either by the authority responsible to address those issues, whether it is the level of the Elections Commission or the national government. So that way, when we do head to elections next year, everything that needs to be put in place to ensure that the process is conducted freely, fairly, and in a manner that is transparent, in a manner that creates the credibility among the population that, when the results are announced, we can all say, yes, everything was done to make sure that the process was credible. So that would be the crux of our discussion on Friday during the panel discussion. That will be carried live on LPR TV and radio. Be hosted by two of our colleagues, Melissa Chia Anna and Hassan Kiawu, two veteran journalists. So we're looking forward to Friday for that panel discussion. I'm really looking forward to majority of our members showing up. And yeah, payment has been slow, but that is typical of our members. Most people who want to be at a convention make the payment. So we look forward to people showing up. And I know this is not an election year. Typically, when we do have elections, everyone is coming. So we might not have the numbers we had last year, but we will, still have a significant number of our colleagues who will show up to be a part of the process. You're muted, James.
You're muted. You're muted, James.
I have today is Saturday, so there's a lot of not too far from the playground. But you have said that there are some issues you hope to highlight when it comes to the national election in Liberia, and for which you have invited these personalities. Now, going to 2023 elections, there are definitely is of concern, and ALJA inviting these personalities is good that they will be prepared to discuss these issues, and also your members being at the convention is also an important issue. So if and only if you have fewer persons, and I think that would not be very impressive for those who will be, discussing and also serving as panelists. So I think you probably will have to encourage everybody to attend the convention, and also it's not because this convention is not of election year.
Well,
That's
no,
an issue.
I was just making a point, but there will no. We expect a significant number of our members to show up. No, I was just
Okay.
trying to contrast our election year convention versus non-election year convention. But no, I mean, as Seboe talked about it earlier, I cannot be more grateful to the team in Massachusetts for the incredible job they've done and they continue to do. And I'm looking forward to not just our colleagues coming, but there will be other community leaders who will join us. We expect the entire community in Seboe will talk about that. So let me not. So
Mm.
he's for the community. Let me not talk about that. But
Uh,
the larger point I want to make is that we expect the convention to be very successful. I expect a significant number of ALJA members to show up, and I expect the panelists to be able to come in and just give a lot of food of thought that I'm hopeful will, continue to drive the conversation about where we go as a country when it comes to holding elections.
Okay, before we go to Mr. Maparyan, let me ask this. How certified are you? Because one of your core functions, one of your missions, your three core mission is to promote and foster the principle of good governance in Liberia through social justice advocacy. Now, when you speak about next day election, one is wondering what is your perspective before you talk about panelists coming or your guests coming to speak on these issues. I would wonder what is ALJA's position? What have you done, to meet this goal or this mission of ALJA? You know, how are you really involving into the governance process to see that Liberia become one of the best countries, not just in West Africa, but in the world.
Well, as an advocacy organization, we have a stake. Right, we are Liberians. The fact that we live outside the country does not make us any less Liberians than those who live in the country. We have a stake in that country. We all care deeply about Liberia, which is why, as an advocacy organization, we'll continue to speak out on those issues that we think are important to just the survival of our country. Those issues that are important to continuing to sustain the democracy we enjoy, whether it is calling for the rule of law, ensuring that freedom of speech and freedom of press, are respected, ensuring that the judiciary is operating in a way that is independent. Those are all things that are important to us because they're important to any democracy for us to continue to be able to sustain the peace and continue to ensure that our people enjoy life in the way that was meant to be, and that the government is performing their responsibility of providing basic services for the people. So we'll continue to call out those things as well. Specifically with regard to the elections, I was pleased when I listened to the president during his address to the United Nations promise that there will be free, fair, and independent elections. We're holding to that word, but not just holding the president to his word. We have to ensure that everything that needs to go in that needs to be put in place, regard to the elections, are done. We need to ensure that the Elections Commission, which is the umpire of this exercise, are themselves operating in a way that is independent and they're transparent. So, like I said, we have to have credibility in the process as Liberians at home and abroad, because these elections, again, like I said, they're important. The reason why we ended up in the crisis, we ended up for these many years, with the fact that, we had a really, terrible system. Elections were rigged at some point in our country. People were disenfranchised. People felt that, the government was not a government that represented them at all. And so we ended up to where we did. We don't want to go back to the pre-war days, which is why I think everyone, whether it's the opposition, the government, the Elections Commission, the international community, everyone has a stake in ensuring that Liberia remains peaceful. And a precondition for the country remaining peaceful is to ensure that these elections coming up, they're free, they're fair, they're transparent.
You are muted again.
You're muting yourself, though. You're muted again. You're muted.
Yeah. Okay. Before I go to Mr. Maparyan, let me ask you one of these cool issues too. How is press freedom in Liberia, and how is the media working? ALJA, how do you see the media landscape in Liberia?
Well, I mean, the media continue to do a good job, and in spite of all the challenges that exist in the country. Liberian media has a history of, just reporting um, uh, in a way that sustains our democracy. The media have bled, they suffered, people have died for the democracy we enjoy right now. To be fair, there are challenges, and they are significant, when it comes to reporting in the country. The proliferation of the media, whether it is print or electronic, or television stations, has made it difficult for the PUL and to have that check and balance that it needs to have. Not just the PUL, but for media entities themselves to, continue to have that standard, to maintain the standard that is necessary for us to, truly say, the media is operating in a way that it should operate. So those challenges exist, and we at ALJA, we're doing our best to help mitigate some of those challenges, whether it is helping, provide professional training for our colleagues, or providing logistical support for media institutions in the country. And we'll continue to do that, just to make sure that we are helping the media get to that place where we all think it can get, where they're conducting themselves in a way that is professional. But by and large, I think the media continue to do an incredible job. They continue to hold our elected officers accountable for things to say and decisions they make. And we'll continue to support them from afar. We have a really great relationship with the PEL, and they're our partners, and we'll continue to maintain that relationship even when I'm gone, because that's how we work, And I'm excited. They're going for elections in a matter of months. I'm excited about the process. I'm excited about the candidates, the two candidates who are contesting. And at the end of the day, we hope that when these elections are over with, the PEL remains one entity, unified, because when they're unified, there's strength. They say there's strength in unity. So yeah, overall, the media has its own challenges, but I think they're still doing a wonderful job.
Okay, Mr. Maparyan, Joe has said that you will speak more about the different committees that are preparing for this convention. Do you care to emphasize some of the workings of these committees, and where are you really when it comes
Well,
to the 2022 convention?
well, pretty much I just tightening the final screws on how we can have the convention to be successful. We, like I said, there are key things that are germane to the convention. That is the place that we meet for our General Assembly. We have that particular facility secure, and another thing is where we meet for our banquet or our gala, which is the national, which is the hall. We have that also secure. We also have our our meet and greet. So the meet and greet is going to be preceded by a welcoming to New England by one of our chapter, in fact, the treasurer of our chapter, Mr. Moses Wanyu. So that meet and greet is going. I mean that meet and greet is going to be held at his home in Rhode Island, which is about 35 minutes drive from Worcester. So we will be there. I think we are really going to, when you're coming, just make sure that you don't have to lower your stomach. Just come with an empty stomach, because we, according to Moses, we're going to have all the food that you can think of, in a Liberian setting. So we'll be really dining and wining at Moses's home in Rhode Island that Thursday evening, and then come Friday, we are going to be, after our sporting events and a little bit of sightseeing here and there in the city of Worcester. We by the way, let me just talk a little more about the sports. We are encouraging all of our our members, come with your cleats, in a Liberian way we call it football boots. Bring your football boots, bring your shin guards. And I remember Joe was telling me, or someone was telling me, Seboe, you have to play. I said, oh my goodness. So you guys you're getting ready to kick my crazy bone. But come with your shin guards, come with your football boots. We have jersey. We have secure a football, beautiful whistle, and we are going to be out there actually, exercising. And I mean, this is going to be a great time for. Again, it's almost going to be a reunion, because there are we have a significant number of Liberians in the city of Worcester. So I know Minnesota has, if I stand corrected, Minnesota has the highest population of Liberian, and the city of Worcester in Massachusetts has small number, but I'm quite sure a lot of those folks, because we have done significant publicity for people to come up there. So we're encouraging our members to come, even those who are not members. Once you are a Liberian residing in the diaspora, we are encouraging you. I don't think our soccer exercises is going to be limited to just ALJA member, because we want to have Old Timer Association of Worcester, And we are also, those of us who have not even kicked football for the last 10, 15 years, will also be trying our best. So come there and we'll have great fun in Worcester. From there, we are going to meet at, one of our Liberia's radio legends, and that name is Edison Zina. I quite remember, when I first, started listening to radio, in fact, not talking about EWA, but I used to listen to Wilmer Stopperfield. And Stopperfield was a great voice. He will sometimes introduce his program like, Molikan, Oli, and he would say all those different languages. And his voice was truly something that pulled the crowd. And then we have Mr. Edison Zina, who came later on, and I could not even distinguish between Easy and Wilmer Stopperfield. So our meet and greet is going to be as easy as how Edison Zina. So come and see Easy, come and see our great people. There are folks that you perhaps heard their names on the radio, because radio is always behind the scene type of media. You only hear voices, you have not seen the personalities. That's why our meet and greet is all about, to come and connect with old friends. So we're going to have, Mr. Joe Mason that you're seeing over there, who used to be on Society and Religion, great voice. And he was one of our best newscasters at Liberia Communications Network, or you call it KISS FM in Liberia back in the days. And Edison Zina was also there, who had a program called Wake Up Liberia. And of course, you had a guy like Sam Johnson. You heard that wonderful and beautiful voice of Star Radio. And you have Moses Sunday, who was also a news editor at the Liberia Broadcasting System. I think he gave some afternoon news, and you will see a guy like, the irritable Volcano Shelton. He will also be there. Guy like what his name?
Mr. Maparyan, let me bring it to this point. Traveling is a lesson by itself, and I'm really wondering how you have put into place getting some of your guests from the airport to out of their hotels. What is the arrangement? We talk about hotels, whether you have some of the most affordable hotels that you make arrangement for, and how do you get individuals from the airport to these places, or do you expect individuals to follow through on their own to get to those places?
Well, we identify basically 3 hotels. So we have a high range, those who want to live in a 5-star hotel, for their own, because coming to these conventions almost like taking a mini vacation, right. And you want to spend time, and have fun. So we have high-end hotel, and we have medium-end hotel, okay. Where people, you don't want to be way up there, but at the same time, you don't want to be way down there. You just want to be in between based on your budget. So we have that, and we also have, I wouldn't call it bottom of the line, but something that can accommodate and affordable. So we have those hotels. All those information are in our chat room on our flyers. Okay. So the issue of hotel is put into place. As far as traveling from those who will be flying into Massachusetts, we are hoping that people will come through our main airport, which is Logan International Airport. Those that will be coming over there, the expectation is, you will have a rental car that will take you straight to your hotel. But we just, because New England, our number is very small, and everyone will be very busy. Beginning Thursday all the way to Saturday, we will all be busy. We're encouraging our members who will be coming by way of the airport to make their way. If for any reason you have, you are stranded for whatever reason, just call on us. I'm available, and Mr. Roland Brown is available. We have our Secretary General Lisa Willie is going to be available. We will try to see how we can get you from the airport, to the city of Worcester. So that should not be a problem. but we're just encouraging everyone to make their way to Worcester because, we'll have a lot of activities to be dealing with while the convention is in progress.
Let me ask you about the delegation. Joe, are you expecting some Liberian media practitioners to be here? Second to that, are you expecting any government official that will be attending besides your panelists and the guests you spoke about? Are you expecting any government official that will be attending this convention, this year convention?
When you talked about you're talking about journalists coming outside the country, I assume, right? Is that the
Yes,
question? Yeah,
that's one. And secondly, whether you have any invitation to a government official that will be attending the convention
yeah.
besides the senator here.
Yeah. So a tradition in ALJA is to always, when we have this event, to invite representative of the government,
Okay.
both the government official spokesman, the Minister of Information, and the ambassador accredited to the United States. So we fulfilled that tradition.
Okay.
We invited the Minister of Information, and we did similar invitation to the embassy accredited to Washington D.C.
Would it be in attendance?
I'm sorry.
Would it be in attendance?
I don't know. Unfortunately,
Okay.
the ambassador, you
Yeah,
know, has
yeah,
been called.
yeah. Mhm.
So we don't know whether they were designated a representative. The Minister of Information, who attended our convention in Trenton, New Jersey last year, confirmed receipt of our invitation, and he said he would, he will let it know at a subsequent date whether he will be in attendance in person. So to date, we have not heard back. But our convention normally happens when the United Nations General Assembly is taking place. And it so happened that we have dozens of government officials in the United States at this time. And they
Okay.
will be here, I assume, when we meet next weekend in Worcester. So, the possibility exists that the minister will still attend, but we have not gotten any official confirmation to date about his attendance. But the invitation is open, and hopefully, we do get to see him.
And maybe just to jump in there, James.
Yeah.
I think like Joe said, this is ALJA is open to the public. We are encouraging those of our friends, our brothers, our colleagues, government officials. Please make your way to Worcester. In fact, Worcester is we there are folks who come within the New England area. They're always in Worcester, so we are encouraging everyone to come in there because this is a beautiful place, and you will see a lot of old Liberians who live, like, for example, the Bishop Emeritus of the of the United Methodist Church, Bishop John Innes. He lives in our city. So so you can see that there are a lot of good people in there. Good Liberians. So we opening up. This is now, sometimes people hear about ALJA, they think it's all about journalism, it's all about politics and stuff like that. Yes, when we have to talk politics, we talk politics. When we have to deal with national issues that will claim, the public attention for which ALJA has to come into speak, it does that. And when we are meeting in a convention where we can also socialize, this is a place where we invite and encourage everybody to come. So it's not just going to be, or it's not all about journalism or journalist, conglomeration to, discuss politics. So we come and share, fun memory from Liberia. Come and talk about the food. Come and talk about, the different places and the journey we have had as Liberian from, whatever we did to where we are. This is where the national agenda begins. This is where our discussion kicks off. So we are journalists. We are human beings. We are brothers. We are folks. We are not just talking politics. We are also making sure that we talk about reintegration, social issue, and how this matter can affect each and every one. So these are some of the issues we actually discuss at our organization outside of the main, assembly and stuff like that, so we can chit chat and do all of those stuff. That's why we're encouraging everybody. You are government official, come. We as an organization, we do not consider anybody, whether you government official, whether you opposition, whether you in position, everybody is welcome in, around the table, and that's why we making sure that this invitation is extended to all of our colleagues, our friends, our brothers, our sisters, and all of our political people that will be here in the United States. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Maparyan, you raised a very important issue, and I want to ask Joe that question. You extended invitation to the ruling party or the government. Did you think about some of these opposition political leaders to see whether they could attend your convention? And secondly, I just want to know how engaged is ALJA? Are you being engaged in the government, besides writing these press releases or something like that? Have you had an opportunity to sit with some of these government officials, like, if not the president, but some of the key officials, and asking them, look, we'd expect the government to run A, B, C, D, but we are not seeing these. I know those kind of engagement. I'm just wondering whether you can throw light on those things or whether it's part of your plan to do those things. Because we have heard messages. Sometimes people see ALJA like haters, people who hate the government, the policy of the government and those kinds of stuff. So I'm just wondering, whether ALJA is really, involved in engaging opposition political parties, the ruling party, and making sure that one of your core issues on governing and democracy is adhered to.
Well, I mean, one of the things we've done is to invite, again, like I said, these officials to our event. There's the other back channel engagement because, mind you, some of these people in government, we're friends. We've known each other
All right.
for a long time. I mentioned the Minister of Information, so we are friends. We are colleagues that work together. In journalism when we are back in the country. So these engagements take place from time to time, but on an official level, no.
Okay.
Except when they do attend our conventions and we engage them. We had Mr. Alexander Cummings was our guest speaker during our 2018 convention, in Minnesota. So we've had these engagements with people in opposition. We provide a platform on a consistent basis for representative from the government, whether it was the former Minister of Information or the Presidential Press Secretary or the current Minister of Information to speak out about what they believe the government is doing in the best interest of the country. Conversely, we've had people from the opposition who have used our platform as well to speak out about what they believe is best for the country. Because I think at the end of the day, these different views, these varying views are important to be heard for our country to be able to make progress. We all need to be respectful of our views because they will not always be the same. There will be divergent views when it comes to issues surrounding our country. But I think at the end of the day, we all need to put the country first and foremost. When we disagree, it should be done in a way that is civil, that is respectful, so that, we can continue to put Liberia first and center. But on an official level, we have not had, like I said, except for our convention, we have not had official discussions. At some point, members of our organization, whether at the level of the national leadership, might visit Liberia. And when we do, hopefully we can be able to engage in more formal discussions with government officials, on the way forward in terms of what our views are. And we've not hidden our views because we are vocal about, events when they do occur in our country. So, our views are in the open. But I think some of these more formal, one-on-one discussion, hopefully it makes some difference. Whether it will, I don't know. But to answer the question, there's not been that formal engagement when it comes to government officials, except when we do meet at our conventions.
You are muted.
You're muted again, though. You gotta hit that mute button.
No, I don't like to the noise. I don't want a lot of disturbance. But I was asking you the weather condition in Worcester. How is it going to be like? I know the summer is like over, and we are wondering how the weather condition is going to be like. I know you have done all of these studies and can best advise in each of us who may intend to, come over there, whether we should come with some, the kind of clothes that we would take with us. How's the weather like? Is it going to be too cold? Is it going to be still in the summer or warm or whatever the situation is?
Oh, it's almost like a weather report, right?
I mean, just give
um,
us an idea as to, how the weather going to be like.
right. I think the weather is going to be friendly. I
Okay.
just looked at the weather yesterday. So it's the weather is going to be around 63, 64 degree. Uh, and I think on on Saturday or Sunday is going to be partially sunny. So
Okay.
it's not going to be crazily and brutal. So if you are coming and you are one of those who easily gets cold, I would say take your jacket. It don't have to be like a winter jacket, but take
Okay.
something like a take this is fall, right?
Hmm.
So take a fall jacket and something light. I don't think you would need to be triple layer. But if you have, you can be maybe double layer, put something over your shirt or your blouse, just to keep you warm. But the weather is it's going to be pretty friendly. I know it's a bit different. Those of us who live in Massachusetts, we when the weather is 50 degrees, we feel like we are happy. We feel that like that's a hot weather. But I know for other people who are coming from different parts of the country, 50-degree
Yeah.
is something very chilling for them. So we just say we would definitely not be in the 50. We around 60, 64 in between there. But it's still kind of cold for some people. So you can just come with whatever you can to keep your body warm. And we will also be in, for the indoor event, the temperature in there is going to be fairly reasonable, around 74, 75 degree, which is quite enough for and then human body temperature. So the weather will be friendly. I don't think we're going to have, if there's a rain, it might just be a little drizzle.
Okay. Joe, you are advocating for women in this coming election. I just want to see how you people make up of these 30% uh, legislative consideration for the political parties to ensure 30% of women participation. I'm just wondering how ALJA, did welcome that, or how what thought you gave to that legislative decision within Liberia, if you care.
I mean, I think that percentage needs to be significantly more, but I think they're starting this baseline. The fact that we're still calling for 30% representation of our women, I think it speaks to how far behind we are. But we're contributing to the conversation, and I think this panel discussion that will be held on Friday is one way that we want to move this conversation forward, with the hope that a lot more women can get involved in the political process. And correct me, how many women do we have in the national legislature? I think I stand corrected. We have just two in the Senate, and very few in the House of Representatives. So, women in terms of being a significant percentage of our population, they're severely underrepresented in our body politics, and I think a lot has to be done to be able to get them up. So I think this is our way of helping in that effort. And we're looking forward to these panelists sharing their experiences with us, and hopefully their experiences will help inform and jumpstart the involvement of other women in the process. Because again, like I said, when women do participate fully in politics and decision making, they really bring a new perspective. They bring different experiences and approaches to problem solving that ordinarily men would not have. And I think we need more and more of our women representing our body politics. It would be better off as a country for it. James, can you hit
There
that
will
key?
be equal. There will be equal opportunity. There will be equal opportunity to everybody. So election is it should be open and everybody should participate, because Liberians, there are some very smart women, and we believe that they can even be smarter than some men, or they are smarter. Some of them are smarter than some men. So 30%, in my view, I mean, this is my view, is really like setting a bar for them. So I'm one person who think that they should go. Women should just be allowed, and the fact that Liberia has that open democracy, I think everybody should be allowed to participate. Those who want to,
Oh
there's
yeah,
that.
of course, of course. Like I said, 30% is saying like, why are we even putting 30%? Women,
Right.
it should be, the number should be way up there.
Yeah.
But I can understand from whence they come, but I think to the extent that we can continue to just,
Okay, Joe.
have that understanding to the extent that we can, have that process. I think that's what
There's something fundamental with that decision. And when I read that law, and I was thinking, I don't know whether you guys saw that, and maybe Mr. Maparyan, you can throw light on that if you have an idea. We get a short time now. You say you're going somewhere. So, but this is it. Political parties are being asked that when they are submitting their candidate listing, it should be 30% inclusive. If that doesn't happen, the election commission must send that list back to the political party, or a political party that failed to meet that threshold. And if they don't, they will also be fined. Now, when I see these things in the law, I'm wondering how is that going to be possible? Because there might be a political party that may not have even 30%. So if you put that in the law, I think it's like, creating some bottleneck for political participation. So I don't know whether you guys saw those things, but these are some of the issues I hope that you all can look into. And
Well, I have not, unfortunately have not seen that, but hearing, that from you, I think, so my personal take on the issue is Liberia is a unitary state. Liberia
right,
is a small country, and we have seen women actually demonstrate leadership, not just on the on the national level as president and cabinet ministers and chief justice or so. Liberian women have participated, and have performed very well. So I think giving a percentage to who should be represented in national leadership, I don't see that as a fair game. I think it should be open to everybody. Everyone should be open. You can set a bar that this is the percentage of women that should be there. Women should be willing. Women should be encouraged into our political system, and we should allow them. Just as we allow equal opportunity to the men. Liberia have been a patriarchal society for a long time, and this is a time for us to get away from that mentality of only men can do better. Women can do exceptionally better, and I think the opportunity should be afforded then for us to hear who they are, for us to see who they are, so that they can come on the scene. But putting number to it, I'm not sure that's the best way to go.
though time is fast spent, probably we would appreciate if we can, hear your summary comment. And then we get to Maparyan first, since you are the head. You can give us your closing comment. Mr. Maparyan, we have just 1 more minute to go, but we could give you the latitude to give a summary of what probably you didn't see, or what you say you want to emphasize, for the upcoming convention, the preparation, and all of those stuff.
Once again, I'd like to encourage everybody, both in the diaspora as well as at home, those of you who have interest in ALJA, those of you who have interest in seeing the national discourse being extended to everyone. We encourage you to come, this coming 29th to the 2nd of October so that we can discuss this issue. We also encouraging our national membership to be in full attendance so that we can also discuss those issues that matters to our organization. I'd like to say thank you to our national leadership. I'd like to say thank you to especially to you, Jim, for hosting us, because this is a way we're not paying for this information. We'd like to say thank you very much. And we encourage all of our people to be in full attendance so that we can have ALJA to the level we expect it to be, especially talking about democracy. We can all participate in this discussion. Thank you.
That's good. That's good, Joe. And you have spoken a lot. The convention, your workings with other media institutions, your participation into national polity, looking at good governance and democracy, and you talk about your panelists, expected, the guest speaker, and what have you. We just wanted to give us a summary comment. Those things you said, those things you probably want to emphasize, we would appreciate if you can make your closing summary comment.
Thank you, James, for the opportunity to be on Untitled Radio and talk about our convention. I just want to add to that. I know we didn't talk about money, but so we're charging, and let me throw that in, we're charging $40 for entry to the fundraising banquet for singles, and then $100 for couple. We're hoping, again, like Seboe emphasized, that the population in the Worcester area and surrounding cities will show up to be a part of our event on Saturday evening. Also, I wanted to mention that I think for the first time in 2 years, we also have COVID in 2019. We did not host a convention. We met last year in New Jersey, and we did not have a representative from Liberia. But this year, we're pleased that we have some of our colleagues coming from Liberia for the first time in 2 years. So I'm really optimistic about that. I'm looking forward to having them here and having them involved in the weekend activities. And we're looking for that number to increase come next year as well. But ALJA occupies a unique place as an organization here in the diaspora. An organization that is determined to work as hard as it can work to make sure that we are impacting the media landscape. An organization that is looking back and reaching out to our colleagues to make sure that they're contributing in a way that is healthy for our democracy. An organization that is ensuring that the media in Liberia perform at this optimal capacity. Obviously, for us to be able to do that on a consistent basis, we required financial support. We relied entirely on the resources of our members to be able to help our colleagues in Liberia. We're trying to source additional support from as many places as possible, because for us to do big things, for us to continue to be impactful, we need to be able to raise as much money as we can. And so we have the media fund drive that will be, again, encouraging folks to contribute to. But we're also looking for ways outside of our general membership contribution in how we can just continue to just make that big of a difference with our colleagues. To tell you this, when we contributed logistical support to the media during the course of this year, one of the institutions that we presented a laptop and some macro recorders to, they just had their institution broken into and everything was stolen. So I think our contribution at the time was just timely, and I got a call. The contribution was made by former vice president, who was PV based. I was in the country at the time, and I got a call from the station manager of the station to say, "Man, I cannot be grateful for what you guys have done. Just to step in when we needed the help the most made that big of a difference." So sometimes it might seem small to us, but the media is so challenged when it comes to just having the basic, equipment to work with, that these contributions make a difference. So I just want to encourage part of our members, to just realize how important the role we play as an organization. Our advocacy. There be many times when people will call me and say, "Hey, what is ALJA saying?" Have you guys heard what's happening? What is ALJA saying? It tells you how important and impactful our voice is, and as an organization. And so, I just try to make those points because we occupy a unique role here in the diaspora as an organization, both in terms of our advocacy and our ability to reach back and give to our colleagues. And my expectation is that, and thankfully, my colleague, my predecessor, laid the groundwork for us to be able to build upon. I'm hoping that when my term ends next year, whoever takes over is just building upon what we have started, because I think it is such an important organization that the expectation is that we can only grow from strength to strength because of the role they play. So, I just wanted to make that point as we close, to thank you again, James, and to just again thank the local organizing chapter in Worcester for such an incredible job. I remember when we ended the convention in Trenton last year, they reached out immediately and said they wanted to host this year's convention. And they've been working since then to ensure that, we have a very, very successful convention. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to our meeting with, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm looking forward to our meeting with the staff, the leadership of Assumption University. It is a private university in Worcester. We'll be visiting them on Friday, and the goal is to have really substantive discussions with them about how we can partner together with the goal of benefiting our colleagues. When we do meet in these cities, we try to build as much relationship as we can with universities and colleges, because we realize that it will only pay dividend for our colleagues in Liberia. So those are all the reasons why I'm optimistic. I'm excited. I'm hopeful about ALJA's future, and I know this convention will be successful. So again, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to an exciting weekend next weekend in Worcester. Thank you. Muted, James. You're muted, James. You're still muted.
Yeah, I'm still not used to muting this. Okay, Joe, we want to say thanks to you and Mr. Maparyan for appearing on 2A Radio, and we think it's good that we all begin to discuss the issues. That's the only way we can have a better society. And all that you have said, we hope that the convention will be successful, that people will attend, and that you get a desired result. Our speaker, and the panelists, we also look up to them, and we hope to be able to talk to some of them before and even during or after the convention, so that we can have, better understanding of some of the things they're going to be discussing that, focuses on Liberia. Having said those, we want to say thank you so much, and we want to say thanks to our viewer. Those of you who are watching, this is 2A Radio Roundtable special discussion this morning. Saturday is normally not one of our days for this kind of a program, but because of the importance of ALJA, we thought it wise to host them on this day. So we want to say thank you, those of you viewing. Kindly share the video and let the message go out. We want to say once again, until next time, thanks to Joe Mason, he is the president for ALJA, and thanks to Mr. Maparyan, who is the board chairman. And Mr. Maparyan, thanks for that correction. We indicated on our flyer that indeed you were the president for the chapter in MA. So I want to say thank you so much for coming. Until next time, this is 2A Radio. We are here. Contact us. We'll always be prepared to give the information out there for Liberians. Liberia must be better, and to get better, everybody must engage in the process. Thanks, and have a pleasant, wonderful day.